Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create this particular colorful and beautiful report right here. Wait a minute, you said colorful? Oh, sorry, not actually this one, but this one here. All right, how do we have this created? Let us first of all look at how dynamic this particular report is. So we can filter using charts, just like this, and all of that. So you can decide to actually drill through to a particular, page where we can see more detail about what we are looking at right here, right now. So remember, this is about crime and we're trying to analyze crime data. So we want to provide more information about the time that most crime happens and the time with low crimes. Before we start going deep into this, let us go ahead and look at what are involved in creating this. You can go ahead and pause this and read through it to see what exactly we are about to get into. All right, now that you've read that, that is exactly what we're going to use to actually have this particular report right here created. And those are the colors we're going to use to actually create the whole report, both the background and using for the chart as well. So we are going to create this one in PowerPoint just like this to make sure our dashboard or our report come out very, very nice. All right, if you have not some kind of hit the subscribe button, it is the high time to do so because we have lots of report and dashboard right here that can actually help you in your career. Let's get down to it. In the first video, this is where we actually stopped, but a lot went here. You need to watch that in case you've not seen it. This is our journey part. This is where we are going. So right now we're going to focus on this particular specific parts. So I'm talking about this part here. Then we're going to focus on this part here. And finally, we're going to focus right on this particular part right here. You see that? Then after this, we're going to look at how we can actually create a beautiful design that we have right on your screen. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, let me take you to the back end. So right here, we are on the crimes data. So what you can see now is this particular column here. So it's named resolved. If I open it up right here at the drop down, we have 0 and we have 1. So the 0 we have here is actually where the crime, the crimes are not resolved. And the 1 we have right here is pointing at where the crimes are resolved. So what we want to do is actually creating a percentage with where we have 0 and where we have 1. That means resolved and not resolved. So how do we do that? Let me take you there. So quickly we go back here. I already have the measure in place. So if I click on this one, here is my crimes unresolved. So what did I do here? Very simple. So actually use the divide function. And inside the divide function, we want to actually divide crimes unresolved. So this part of my DAX actually helps me to actually filter down to where we have crimes that are not actually resolved. You understand? Because we said when it is equal to 0, it's actually unresolved. It's only when it is equal to 1 that we have the crime to be resolved, right? So we actually did that and we divided it by the total crime that we have. So that will give us the percentage of the crime that are unresolved. So the same thing I've done there is the same thing I did over the crime resolved. So the difference is just this particular part and here is resolved instead of unresolved. So always make sure that after you're done creating this particular DAX, just go ahead and actually hit your, percentage number formatting. That is all you want. So let me show you the final result we are going to achieve for you to understand what it is we're about to get into. All right, if you look at it over here, this is actually something we did by just using the Q&A we have inside our Power BI without writing too much code to do this. So all we're going to use that is very important is the percentage we have just created and actually adding caption to tell what all those percentages are all about. How do we do that? Let's get in. Okay, we're right here. The very first thing you have to do is to click on this particular text box here. So I inserted twice of it. I'm going to get this one away. Okay, we have our first text box here. So the very thing I'm going to do right now is that I want you to see what I'm typing in. So I'm going to actually have to some kind of increase this to 14. So inside here, I'm going to type in some text and I'm going to actually add my percentage to it, but my percentage should be dynamic. So let's do it. So the resolved, so we said the resolved rate of crimes reached. So we need to actually bring in our percentage. So we don't have to type in like 80% right here, just hand code it. No, it wouldn't be dynamic. So what do? We make it dynamic. To make it dynamic now, we click on this particular value here. So it says add a dynamic value. So once you click on it, it actually takes you to the Q&A. So we have to actually tell the Q&A what we really want. So if you look at here, we have two measures. So resolved and unresolved. So now we are doing for resolved. So what we're going to do right now is to get this one into this box and actually get the percentage that is peculiar to the crimes resolved. So to do that now, I will definitely type in here the name of my measure, crimes resolved. Okay, you can give it some time to give you suggestions. Now we have it. Despite that, what we typed in wasn't correct, I presume. Okay, correct. So we have crimes resolved and crimes. Okay, this is what we're looking for here. So we have it. So what we can do now is for we to click on save. So with the save button clicked on, so as you can see, we have 70.04%. So we're going to proceed to actually type in the rest of our text. So over here, I'm going to say as a result of authority efforts. Can you see that? Okay, I'm going to highlight everything inside the box and go over here and change everything to 14. After doing that, the reason why I use this, I would have used DAX to do everything and just do concatenation with my text and my percentage, but I love this one very, very much because it can actually, decide how I want my percentage to be formatted. So all I need to do, hold the shift key and your arrow to the left will definitely highlight this particular part for you with ease. So after doing this, now we can go ahead and actually use this particular bold here and change the color of the font if we decide to do that. But for now, I'm going to leave it that way. Later, after all, if we are making our dashboard or report to look beautiful, we can actually go ahead and do it. So this is what we have. And this is the same thing we're going to do to the second one. Very simple, right? So we just go ahead and insert a text box again. So for the last time, I'm going to do this once more. So over here, I'm going to type in. All right, I just typed in a significant portion accounting for. So what we're trying to do right now is to bring in the unresolved. So let us look at what we're going to do. So I'm going to come over to the value here, just like what I've done before. And I bring here crimes unresolved. So here we go. So we have 29.9%. So I'm going to click on save. So after doing this now, we need to actually give a space and type the remaining text. So this is what we want to achieve. So we can decide to actually go ahead and actually crank this up by doing bold. And this is what it is. So I love to use a different text instead of me using this particular type of font. So I'm going to go over to the font here and I change it to this particular Comic Sans MS. And do the same thing to this one. It brings out my text very well. I'm going to go ahead with this. And this is what I have. Beautiful, right? So we can actually make sure we, format it the way we like that will fit into what we want. So let me just bring it down to this particular level and we get this one. So The next thing I'm going to do right now is that let us go ahead and look at what we have done in the previous dashboard. Over here, we have this particular part. So what this part is actually talking about is like, okay, you know what? This is the most dangerous time that you shouldn't go out. If you have to go out, you have to be very careful because you can fall a victim of any of the crimes out there. So the time is actually 11:30 p.m. This depends on what kind of crime you're looking at. So if I click right here right now, so you can see that we have different types of crimes here. So can you see it now? So we have shoplifting. So if I click on it and filter by shoplifting, so it's going to change my time for me. It's actually 8:05 a.m. So it's a dangerous time. And look at it on this particular part here. This is the week that it falls to, Friday, Saturday, and always high in the month of October. So look at this particular part. You understand what I'm talking about, right? So let's go back and see how we can actually create that particular path. All right, we're right here. The next thing we have to do right now is to click on this particular table. We would have used, just card, but I want to show you in a table format to see how it looks before we get our result. All right, the very first thing we have to do is to actually click on the crime data here and have it open. So we have our crime date and we have crime time. So if I click on crime time, what I have is all of the time we have our crime being recorded at. All right, so I'm going to click on this particular part where it says filters on this visual. So once you actually click on the drop down to collapse it, so you're going to have this particular basic filtering. Then you click on the top end. Then from the top here, I'm going to put just one. I need the top one. So it's going to ask me, how do I want to filter this? So I'm going to shift here my total crime into this box. Then I go ahead and apply filter. So with this, it's some kind of filter just the time we have the highest crime right on based on the filter we have currently. So it's going to change over time. That depends on what filter we are using. All right, so once we have done that right now, the next thing is for me to convert it to a card, this. So it's not really important. You can do it over a card. It's just that if I don't show you this, you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And here we go. I'll keep it over here. So look at what happens if I use a card for the first time. It will look confusing. I'm going to bring in my crime time here. And automatically the card gives me a particular time. This is not based on filter. This is based on what appeared first in the list. So I don't want to show you this before, but I did. Okay, I have this removed. So right now we have our crime time that is the time that is very dangerous that we shouldn't really consider going out, whatever. So the next thing right now is to actually, bring in a map to actually help us visualize crimes by countries. All right, so I'm going to go over to this particular map. So click on it. Oh, sorry. We mistakenly do replace that with this. So now click out map. And here we have a map here. You can actually make the map bigger right now. So inside the map, if I go over here, you can see I have country. I'm going to bring in my country. And the next one now is to bring in my total crimes into it. So we have this. Remember, we need to do some pretty basic formatting here. So I click over here. Then the first thing to do is to go ahead and turn off the title because I will create it myself. All right, we'll look at this particular part. It's a bubbles. So I can just go ahead and increase the bubbles to whatever I like. So I can do this. I think this is beautiful. So if you go to the finished one, you can see I highlighted the country with the highest crime with a particular color that matches my dashboard. That is what we're going to do. But for now, we're cool with what we just, have right here. Okay, this is exactly what we want to create. And we have just gotten that done. So what is almost left here right now is for we to actually create the design and make the dashboard or the report look just like the previous one I've shown you. Okay, over here, so we have this particular time. So let me show you in the focus mode for you to see what I'm talking about. So we have this particular chart that shows time between. So we're looking at time here. So we're looking at it between 12 to 2:59, between 9 a.m. to 11:59, on and on. So we want to actually see what are the time between this particular, group of time we have right here, and what are the crime trend we have on it. So how do we show that? So we're going to create something different. So what we're going to do right now is to actually create a different page for that. So what are you talking about? So I'm going to click here and create this page. So first of all, I am going to name this page details. So I've named it page detail. If I go over to my first page right here, I can just say report. So report. Then if I hover over this, what do you see? You see time group and the total crimes based on the time group was actually selected. So I'm going to actually go over to this particular page right now. So being here, the very first thing I'm going to do is to actually make sure I change the page type. So go over to page information and click from page standard to drill through. Now we have a drill through. It doesn't change our page, but something amazing will definitely happen. So click over here on this particular add data. So once you click on it, it's going to bring in all the columns or the tables and the columns inside the tables. Then go over to the table you want to actually use as a drill through and select the column. So I'm going to go with my crime data and I'll click on the time, like the crime time here. No, that is not what I want to use. I'll remove it and let's go with the grouped one instead. So I'm going to go with the grouped one. This is the time group. So here we have the time group. So the difficulty right now, the time group is here. Time group. So I'm going to take this one off. So if you look at what happens now over here, I am going to choose to remove this one. So we can stop the filter, right? Okay. Now that we have this here, what happens? Look at what we have here right now. What happens if I go back to my report and hover over here? So right now we have extra thing on top. That is drill through. If I step into the drill through, I have details. If I step into the detail, I will click. So when I click, it takes me to this page. As you can see, when we actually did this, we added what? Automatically, this was added to the page without we knowing. So now we know. So what just happened? All right, if you look at here, this is highlighted, which shows that this is what we have just selected right on our chart. Others are not selected. They are all deselected. Can you see that now? Okay, what is the use of this? Let me show you. So I'm going to go ahead right now and actually click on this particular line chart for the first time. On the line chart, I'm going to actually bring it this way and make it bigger a little bit. So beautiful. We have something like this. So inside this, I'm going to go over to my data and click on my total crimes and go over to where we have the crime time and click on the crime time. And you can now see the trend of crime that we have. Can you see that now? So this is actually from 12 to 3:30. Can you see that now? Beautiful. If I hover over the last one right here, this is 3:45. So let us go back to our report and hover over this one that says from 6 a.m. to 8:59. And if you step in and click on this, this is what we have. So now, can you see this now? This is how we have just gotten this created. So I would love to use a different chart, and that chart will be this area chart here. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I should have clicked on my line chart first. Then go ahead and click on the area chart. So we switch it to area chart. We have something like this. I can bring this down. So before we do the formatting, there is something very important I want to show you right now. So what is that? That is how to actually create a dynamic, what I call it, the title. Yeah, title, something that shows that what happens. So right now, we can't really tell what is going on right here. But if I actually come here now and, okay, let's scroll down. if I bring this particular time group into a card, just like this, so I have the time that has been selected, right? If I go back to my report and I click over to this, and I actually drill through to the detail table, so what we're gonna see is the time 12 to 2:59, like this. So what if we have more than one drill through? So can we test it? Yes, of course. Let us test it. So first of all, let us go back to report. Inside report, I want to actually add, like weekday as a drill through, right? Let's try it if that is going to work. So I'm going to go back over here. So I'll click over to as in no, I'm not going to click nothing. So I'll just click outside. Let's close this one for now. So click over here and click on the page information. Let's go ahead and add, and we go over to the date table. So we add the weekday. So we have another one. So let's go back here. So now I can hover on Sunday. So let's see if Sunday will come up. Oh, this chart was not showing that. We can't get it from here, but we can get it from here. Can you see that now? So remember, this chart was connected to the weekday, this one right here. So when we hover over here now, we can now drill through to our detail. So here we go. So we further have another filter that affected this particular visual right here, but we're only seeing 12 to 2:59. So what other filter is affecting it? We can't tell. So which means we have to actually manually add another one. So I'm going to show you. You need to watch this. Just please carefully watch this and understand what I'm trying to do. So I'll go over here and click on the card. Then inside this particular card, what I want to have inside it right now is the date weekday. So let's go for a date table and let us pick up the weekday here. So we have Sunday. So let's check around and see here again. So I'm going to select a different one now. What if I select here on, or like that is on Friday? So we have Friday showing up. So what if we don't select nothing from the other side? It's only this particular one that is affecting it now. If I want to make a switch, what drill through we are using through the other side, I want to see just one, either Friday or the time. Because right now I only have Friday on. So if we go back here now, so you can see there is nothing here. Nothing is selected here. I'm just manually selecting it now and it has worked. So it was like this. So we only have one selection, and that selection is actually Friday. So what happens if I actually go down? Let's scroll down here. Okay. Let's scroll down this one. So you can see Friday is selected. Let's go back and select like the group of time here. So I'm going to select this one, drill through and go to detail. So now let's get back down to here. For the weekday, there is nothing in selection, but Friday is still turned on. So we want to turn off Friday and only have the time that is selected, just like this one now. So how do we do that? So we have to write a little DAX to get that done. This is not default. That is something we can just get through with and all of that. So let's do it. Okay, the first thing first is for me to go to my calculations right here and create a new measure. So you see the power of DAX now, and this is going to turn and blow your mind. So I'm going to type here, drill through. Okay, I'm going to put an equal sign here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is to actually use a variable. So my variable, I'm going to name it underscore country. Okay, sorry, I said country underscore weekday. All right, inside this particular weekday, we want to actually store in the weekday that is selected only if there is any. But if there is none, there is nothing that will be stored. Definitely we're going to see blank. So I'm going to come here and use this particular function called selected value. So the selected value here, what it's going to do is to actually help us to check if there is selection on the weekday here. Then we close. So after this, we're going to create another variable here, and we're going to call that underscore, that is time group equals. So we use the same selected value here. So inside it here, I'm going to type time group, and we close. So now that we have this, we want to add a little caption that tells what is going on. So now we come over here and return. So under the return here, what are we going to do? I'm going to use the switch function. But before I use the switch function, let me show you what is going on. So over here, I'm going to try to return my underscore weekday. So if I hit my enter key, let us look at the behavior of this particular drill through we have here. So I'll push it into a card. So as you can see here, it's actually blank, and it's giving us blank. Is that true? Let us find out if truly this is blank. So I'm going to come over to drill through and change this from weekday to what? To the time group. If I hit my enter, we should have something in it instead of blank. So which means truly the previous one was blank. But let us see if that is truly blank. So I'm going to try to bring this back again, and we're going to see the same blank we've seen previously. Nothing changes. So go over to report. And now let us go ahead and actually select like Thursday, for example, and drill through to that particular Thursday in the next page. So we now have, okay, sorry, it was Tuesday. We now have Tuesday here. Okay, now that we have known that when nothing is being selected, or when the drill through was not selected from the other page, this will give us blank like this. So blank means nothing. It means like, so blank like this. So what are we going to do? So we can actually use that to our favor. So go to drill through here, and I actually come over here and clear off this for now. So what I'm going to use now, under the return, I'm going to, inside the quotation here, I'm going to type the entire chart on this page is associated. I can use that word. I don't know. Pardon my English. Oh, I have my language, but it is not an excuse. Okay. So now I'm going to use the concatenation here. So space, close this, and the ampersand here. Then we need to actually have a space, and that space again. Then this helps you to get a space. Then you close the ampersand. So once we have done this, right now we want to use what we call switch through function. The switch through function will definitely help us to switch between which one is blank and which one is not blank. Okay, I'm going to use the switch through now. Switch through, and beneath the switch through, what we're going to do right now, I'm going to actually reference my underscore time group. So for the time group, I'm going to say if the time group is blank, is not blank. When you see this particular less than and greater than that we have here, it means this particular, I'm talking about this very one here, this very one, this one, it means not. When something is not, like when there is no this condition, then go ahead and do this. Okay, now that we've gotten that now, if it is not blank, we're going to put blank here, which means if the switch checks and it is not blank, we want to return what? We want to return our time group. Then give us the time group. Otherwise, Otherwise, I'm going to put comma here. Otherwise, we go over to here. I'm like, okay, what do you need to get? So we're going to check if our weekday as well is not blank. I told you this is not. So we put blank here. Then if it is not blank, go ahead and actually fetch us our weekday. So for the remaining part, we just ignore it and we do this, close, and hit your enter key. So right now, where we see Tuesday now should be containing the same Tuesday if that is still true. So let's go ahead and see that. So can you see now? This is huge. So let us open it up and see. Now we have the Tuesday here, right? So I'm going to change it from Tuesday now to the time group, and let's see what we're going to have. Over here, go to detail, and we have the time group instead of Friday here that we have. So how did Friday turn down? I don't know. So right now we don't need any of this. We don't need any of this. So we have this. Okay. It seems the space I have here is pretty much. Let's go back and check out what is causing that space. Oh, I'm going to take off this particular space instead. Then if I hit my enter, we should have enough space to deal with. So go over to, let's take a look at it. So now we have this. This is better. But there is something I want to check. Let's go back to our report. And right away, we go to the weekday. Let me select Sunday, for example. So I'm going to drill through to the same page. And it's showing us Sunday. What if I want my Sunday to be in capital letter? How do I do that? Very simple. We use that function called upper. All right, I'm going to click on the drill through, then go straight up to here, and I use upper. So I'm going to close the bracket of my upper right here. If I hit my enter, both my S, my U, my N, and anything at all I have right as the weekday will definitely be on uppercase, just like this. Can you see that now? Beautiful, huh? Okay, now we have this. This is what we want to have right here, and we have just gotten that exactly created. Okay, the next thing now is to actually make sure we keep it where we want to have it right in. Let's go to the edit. So first of all, let us close this particular category label and go over to call out value, and let us go ahead and use something like 15. So beautiful. So with 15, I'm going to change it to something beautiful like this particular Comic Sans image here. So we have something like this. Okay, what if I actually increase it a little bit? That's great. So now here we have it. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around here for now. For the time being, we're going to see what we can do to make this much more better. Okay, the next thing right now is that we want to actually look at what are the crimes and which of the crimes are at the high level. So the chart to be used is this particular chart right here, the closed chart bar chart, the closed chart column chart rather. So we go ahead and insert it. And I'm going to make it a bit smaller just this way. I'm going to bring it down and come over here and drag it down a little bit. Okay, the next thing now is go over here, then bring in my total crimes. So once we have that done, we have a particular table called crimes, called crime types. So if I click on it, I have my crimes. So we have this. I'm going to stretch it until I have something beautiful, just like this. Okay, we have something like this. So which will definitely make us to adjust this one we have right here not to actually interfere. So for the time being, I'm going to have this for now. So this is what we have. So we have to do some cleanup, right? Then the cleanup shouldn't be something complicated. I can go ahead and, should I turn off the title? Yes, I'm going to create my own title. So I'll turn it off. So if you like, you can keep the title you have right here. It's sometimes beautiful, but I don't want this. I'll take it off. Then I'm going to go ahead and go down a little bit. Okay, not need. So go to our X axis and we turn off the title of the X. That's good. So we're going to go ahead and make the text bold. This to give us this effect. This is crazy. So now we arrange it nicely. So we go to our Y axis and we quickly turn off the title before we finally turn off the value. Title first, and we go and turn off the value. All right, with this, we are cool with what we have. We're going to come back to it, but not now. So we go over to this one. On this one, I'm going to turn off the title, but the value should be left alone. Don't touch it. All right, let us go a little bit down, or up rather, and turn on this, and the value should be turned. Oh, sorry, that is crazy. Let's go. We go to the title, we turn off the title. For the value, we open it up and we bold what we have on it so that it should show very well. So once we have this, the next thing we need to go ahead and do right now is that we want to see the dangerous time based on all the time we have in this chart, and as well the time with low crimes. That is what we want to illustrate here. But don't forget that we still have the title on. So we're going to go ahead and turn the title off. We have this. Okay. So let us move this up. So we go ahead and move this up a little bit. Okay. Now with that, it's not really complicated. The very first thing I'm going to do is to actually get this particular text box here. And inside the text box, what I'm going to do is to type in dangerous crime time. Okay. So we can bold it and go ahead and change the font to 14. Let's do like 18. Will be cool. So I'm going to bring this over here. So I'm going to emphasize this particular dangerous here. So first of all, make it bold. And over here, I'm going to select this particular color to emphasize that. So I'll bring this way. So can you see this now? So if I have done that, I'm going to get this particular, I want to bring in some kind of, what do I call it? We call it icons, but those icons shouldn't be gotten from any website. No, we don't want that. So we have some icon living inside our windows, which I believe most of us doesn't know. I'm going to show you how to get that. Okay, let's go ahead. All right, we need to get some icons right here, and those icons should be gotten without we going to an external website or using the icon we have in Power BI. Does Power BI really have some icons? No. So how do we do that? So I'm going to actually come over here and insert a new measure to show you how to get that done. So with new measure in here, so I'm going to call this icon something. I'm thinking about that. Let's call this some kind of mark or check. I'm going to use this one as check. Check. So with my check, I'm going to put the equal sign here. My Windows key, like the Windows key you have in your keyboard, hold it down first, then your full stop. So once you actually bring in your full stop, it's going to show you this icon. If you don't have it yet, please try it again. The Windows icon, click it down, hold it down, and your full stop or your period, whatever. So I want to just get this particular check, and I have it right here. You see that? So, but one thing is that we can't have it without having these particular quotes around it. So we need to get off this one first. So I'm going to have the quotes around this one here. So now we have this. I'm going to hit my enter key. That would definitely create this for me. I have it, right? Okay, now I am going to actually insert a new measure. So we call this one cross equals. Inside the quotes, we do this. So what you need to do, let's go over to this and scroll down a little bit. You can now find this particular cross right here. Should we call it cross or multiplication sign? It's not asterisk, okay? Whatever you want to call it, but this is what we're looking for. And we got it under this particular one that says supplemental symbols. So go ahead and click on it. We have just gotten it inserted, right? So now we just hit our enter key, and that actually gives us this. All right, we need to get the cross, first of all, right in here. How do we do that? Make sure you select nothing and go ahead and click on it. Automatically, it's going to actually come inside a card. and it comes like this. So the very first thing to do is to go over here and remove this and go over to the and make it this small and bring it over here. So right now it sent our dangerous time behind. We don't want that. Why doing the behind the scene? Okay, now we make sure what the heck is wrong. We couldn't find any formatting for it. Click back on it. Now we have it. So we want to go to size and style and go over to background here. So we turn that off, right? So we can actually go back to this particular part and reduce the size. Can you see? It's working. Oh, this is cool. Okay, now we have done that. I'm going to come over here, click on it and change it to this particular color. What? Yes, of course. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and resize it, then fit it in here just like this. What I'm going to do now is to click on this one, then go ahead and copy, then paste this one here, and just go ahead and drop this one over here. So what am I going to do? Here I can stretch this a little bit. So now I would want to emphasize my low. So we just do this, and this time around, because it's low crime rate, what if we use something like a green color that looks something like this? So this should look beautiful. So this is cool. So this is what we are talking about. So remember, we have another icon we brought in. We're going to get it. We're going to click on this one because we already have a format on this. So I'm going to copy this, paste, and move this down to this particular part. Go over to this and get this off. So we're going to look for check. Here we have our check right then. So we have our check here. Our check is carrying red. So we want to go ahead and reduce this a little bit. So, and check shouldn't carry red. Instead, check should be carrying something like this. For the time being, we have this. So can you see this now? It's making this look great. But one thing is very important. What are we trying to portray here? All right, we're trying to show the time with the highest crime, and we have gotten it already before now. All I just need to do is to go over to that page and fetch that right from here. So I've gotten it. I'm going to go back to this page and I'll paste it over here. It still remains the same thing, right? It doesn't change anything. So we are going to go ahead and take off this. So once we have done that, it is time. Let us go ahead and reduce this and go over here, and we're going to do 20 like this. So next is for we to some kind of make it this way, and we bring it over here, right? So we want to use the same color like this. Okay, what if I got it duplicated and I bring this one down here? So what do you think is going to happen? So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to go over to my crime here. This one says earliest. That means something has changed. Oh, no, nothing changed. Here we have the top, and we have the top here. Instead, I'm going to use the bottom right here, and I'm going to apply everything. Okay, now that you've seen this, nothing changes on the first one because we duplicated it and we copied it down and we changed it to bottom, and this one is still using the top. If I click over here right now, I can go over to the format to change the color to this particular color. So what about this? So this color is not coming out very well, but don't worry, there'll be time for you to do that. But for now, please let us go with this. Okay, we talked about titles, right? And now it is time for we to actually play around with how we can actually have a nice title on our charts. So all I'm going to do is to copy and paste. Then I'm going to move this particular copied one over here, and I'm going to stretch this a little bit. So what I'm going to do right now is to highlight the content inside it, and I'm going to type in trend. Oh, sorry for that. So right here I have trend of crimes over time. So I'm going to put S here, trend of crimes over time. So I want to actually still some kind of make this bold, and this is beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to make sure I copy my trend of crimes over time and have it duplicated for something different. So I'm going to bring it down over here. So once we have it here, so right now I can actually open it up this way and then go over and bring this down a little bit. So we can come here now. So this is what we have. So we have low crime period indicated by the presence of red, like this one, and this one I've given it green and red. Okay, what I'm going to do next is for me to highlight it and go over to here and choose the same font I've been using that pops it out very well. So I'm going to use the same font over this one here. So we do the same thing. We go with this particular font, and this is what we have here. Can you see that now? Beautiful. Okay, this particular high crime here, I want to make sure I put it on bold, right? So the low crime as well should be the same thing. Select it and highlight it like this. So the green here, for the green to pops, we just want to do that. This one, the red should pop. We want to do this, and this is what we have. So what else do we want? So we are going to get this one here. So right here, the title is diverse, right here, the title is diverse criminal perspective. So we want to show the total crimes over here. So what I'm going to do now is just to actually insert a card. So this card should actually bring in this particular total crimes we have right here. And that would actually be basically for what we use to drill down right to this particular part. So I'm going to keep it here, then go over to here and we turn off this particular background. So we go over to here and we turn this off. So we have this. For the font, I want something very bold. I'm going to use this particular area black. This is beautiful. Okay, now that we have this, we just need to go ahead and create our background. So it is time for we to actually bring in backgrounds, but we don't have it. And this is not looking anywhere beautiful. Don't worry. Once we have our backgrounds, we're going to have everything looking cool. All right, we are back to our first report. So we're going to go ahead and create our background from PowerPoint, you know that, right? So I just want to use the right font here. I want something bold that bring out this. Okay, we need something like this. We're going to change the color later after all, but for now, let's do with what we have. So now with this, we can go ahead and get our background created. So take a screenshot like this. So we have the screenshot already. The next thing we have to do right now is to save it somewhere we can remember. So I've just saved this. Then I go ahead and click on this and just use it to replace it. Okay, we have this. We'll be using this later after all. So right here, we have all the colors we're going to be using. This color, and this color. So what do we do next? So we're going to come over to here and right click and add a new slide. So inside this new slide, we have to get off everything here. Just highlight and hit the delete key on your keyboard. It's gone. The very first thing I want to do right now is to actually bring in this very one here. So with this very one and this one and this one, I'm going to Ctrl-C to copy them, take them right into this place. You can just make them smaller. So for the first time, I want to actually create my background. So what I'm going to do right now is to right click somewhere here and format background is what I'm going to click on. Over here, I can click on this and get the eyedropper and click on this to get it. So we've just gotten our background created. So I can click on this one here. We don't need it any longer. So I will have it removed. Okay. This one now, I need to use it. I want to go to the top and go for insert I have here shapes. I want to get this particular rectangle. So I'm going to drag it. Quickly, I want to give it this same color. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it first. Then go ahead and use the eyedropper. Then here we have it. So we don't need to have this one here any longer as well. So I'm going to take it off. So if you look at it, we have some background on it. Oh, sorry, some edge or outline. Click on it and let's go ahead and have it turned off. Go to line and turn off the line. So with this one here, I'm going to actually situate it all the way here and stretch to this end. Then we just adjust this one to make it look like this. Okay, so I'm going to Ctrl D to have it duplicated and move this down. So here we go. So I'm going to put this one over here and stretch this one all the way down here. Then I can just go ahead and create an adjustment that looks like this. This is what I want to do exactly. I've gotten this right. So this one is actually for my charts and cards. So what I need to do now is to go all the way back up and now click on insert. We can now go for pictures. Yeah, pictures. Then I can go for my desktop and I want to find this one here. So we have this. I'm going to have to some kind of bring this over here. Make sure you go and we fill in what we have. So we want to see that particular go as center back to show this. This is what we want to see here, right? Okay, quickly let me show you what I'm using. I'll go up again. I'll click on my insert, then my shapes. Then I'm going to use this particular one that has rounded corners, rectangle. So if I drag it down, I can drag it. Here we go. So the corners can be adjusted, right? That's beautiful. So I can actually make sure I go ahead to this particular part and click on this, then adjust the transparency for now. So you can see what is behind it and I will turn off the line. So now that we can see what is behind it, I'm going to make it this way. So remember to always keep a white space at the edge here. Don't cover everywhere. So just keep a little white space that you are cool with. So I think something like this will be okay, right? So we're going to go with something like this. Okay. So for the rounded corner here is not really cool. I can just reduce it a little bit. Ctrl D to have it duplicated. Then I can bring this one over here. So I'll bring it down a little bit. We bring this like this. So always try as much as you can to touch your rounded corner, not to make it very much. So we Ctrl D to get this and we take this down. Okay, so if we are cool with the way the rounded corner is, that is beautiful. So we have something like this. Okay, for this one, I'm going to bring it down a bit. So I want to have equal spacing for them. What can I do? You can decide to just come here and take this up a little bit. This is beautiful. Okay, this color here, I'm going to just put it over in the middle here because I'm going to be needing it in a jiffy. Okay, I'll take you to the website where I get something very, very important from there. So let me take you there. If you look at this particular part here, it's not just, ordinary shape we have here. So it's some kind of paper, right? So if you look at it here, I typed in download papers, right? And what I did again was coming over to, let me show you. I think coming over here to tools. Once you click on tools here, so you're going to have this particular part here. So click on over here and choose transparency. So the transparent one is what we want to use. So I'll click on any one you love from here. So I click this one and I have it downloaded already. So I've gotten this downloaded, or we can do that again. So just right click and go over to save as. So it should be saved for you. So now we are back here. So I will go over to insert and go for my pictures. Then go down to download. See, here we have what we have downloaded. So here we have it. So it covers everywhere. We have to reduce it and make it a bit smaller to actually cover what we want. So just do it. Resize it over here. So just resize it to actually give us what we want. I'm gonna bring this down. Remember, we can always adjust things when we get to the other side of it. So right now we are somehow called with this a little bit. So I can Ctrl D to have it duplicated, and I can give the duplicate to this particular one here, then move it and bring it down. Just adjust it. Okay. So I think we can try the transparency to see if we can do that. There's no way to transparent it right here, but I'm cool with this particular second one here. Every single time you just try to adjust it, you see what is behind it and how it looks, right? So that can actually give you a clear view of what you're trying to get into. So I have done something like that here. I'm gonna just make sure I create a space between them. So what about this? This is cool, but this is not the color we want to use. I can just go over to this particular picture here and go to picture colors, and I can click on my recolor here, and now we have different colors. Look at this one here. And if you change your mind, you can decide to use something like this. And I want to use something like this. So I'm going to do the same thing to this particular one as well. Then click over it and go for this. Beautiful. We have this particular color. Do you get it now? Okay. So it is time for me to actually keep going. So I'm going to get this one duplicated over here. So we need to stretch and cover it up till down here. Reduce the curveness we have on it. We don't want too much of it. So can do this. So Ctrl D again to have it duplicated and just resize it for this particular one. So remember, we don't touch the height. We have the same height for both of them. Something like this. Okay, next is for we to get for the bottom chart here. So you can just resize this. So I'm going to drag it to the right. This way. Okay, this look good. This look good. So I'm going to select all of those particular shapes I have here like this and go ahead and remove their transparency. Now I have it fully back. Okay, with this now, we are good. So we can now click on this particular one and go to from the eyedropper. Oh, sorry. We select this, and we have it done at once. Or we go to the eyedropper under fill and pick this particular color. So we now have something like this. So what is left is for we to verify if the outline is being turned off. So once we have very saturated, we can now remove this one. So we have this. If you look at it, something is a bit wrong with this. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure I just kind of adjust this a little bit up to have the same size for this. So we have an icon here. You can always download your icon. I've shown you icon site, time without number, or flaticon.com, where you can get your icons from. So here I already have my icons. I'm going to paste them over here. So I'm going to just keep this right here. And this one. goes this way. Okay, this is awesome. So we have this. What I'm going to do right now is that I want to actually have all my title being written myself. I've actually removed them, so I'm going to do that myself. So let's go over to the top here, or still we can get this one duplicated, and once we've done that, we want to change it to white. Okay, let's go with the same background. So use the eyedropper. So the normal background we have like here, so we have it here. So I'm going to just reduce it and make it smaller, place it over here, and just adjust it until you get something you are really cool with. So here my title goes in it. So you can just bring these friends down, the screaming us. Okay, we have this, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it and bring it over here. Then have this one here. Then I get this one. You can see how what we are transforming this one to look like. So I'll bring this over here. You can actually adjust it and make it cover up to this level. So we get it this duplicated. So for this one, I'm going to have it over here, and they can just go ahead and do this. Ctrl D to get this. And I'm going to put this over to this particular part. You get it now. Okay, so the last but not least is our map here. So you can adjust it and place it above here. This gives us this. You can see how our background turns into. So it might look a bit rough, but can we work with this? Yes, of course we can. Okay, there is something I want to do. I want to actually add some kind of rounded corner to make sure it looks like this. Not too much of it, just a bit. So you click over this one and adjust it. Can you see how it looks now? So you just get this and come over here and get the same thing. So remember, what we are using here is actually the same background that we are using to get it. That is why we have it blended with the main background. Very beautiful. You get it. So we will need to get this particular kind of effect on it. And it's really cool, right? So what else can we do? We have to remove the one we brought in. That is this one. We have to remove it. Oh, no. Yeah, remove it first. Now it's not looking fine at all. So what do? I can select this, select, oh no, deselect it, select this one, and select all of this. I forgot I used my main background. Okay, I'm gonna go over to here now and click the eyedropper and select this particular one, not this very one that is very dark, this one. Then can you now see what we have made this into? This is what we're trying to get. Exactly. So I have some time to adjust this to suit what you really want. It's very, very important. Adjust it until you are very much satisfied with what you have. So this is exactly what we want to get, and we have just gotten this done. So what else? It is time for we to export. So go to what? Go to File. So from File, we click on Export. So we choose what we want to export it to. Oh, sorry. Okay, I want to show you in a different way, not that way. So this. If I double click on this, it's going to take me to where I can select more options. So if I just click it once, it can give me this PNG and as well this JPG. I'm going to go with PNG. That is beautiful. Double click on it and let's see how we're going to save it. So we can save it somewhere. Can save it to my crime. Let's see. So we save this with B1, and that is all we need to do. Just save that with B1. So we are back to our Power BI. So don't click on any chart. If you look at this particular part now, when I click on a particular chart or whatever, so it changes. So for that, click on a blank area where you couldn't have access to click on a chart. Then you can see this particular canvas background, and we have the canvas setting right here. Click on this, and let's go over to where we have it right in. So here we have it. We can take it up there. So it's here, but we cannot see it. That was because we have it on 100%. So we have to go ahead and have this reduced. Put it on 0%. Don't even reduce it. And there we have it. So why is it not looking like something we really love? Like, why is this? Okay, actually what happened was we need to get some of those background turned off. So if I click on this, you can open this up, and here we turn it off. So we do the same to this particular one right here. We need to turn this one off. So we can click on our main heat map here and turn the background off. The background is already turned off. So what is going on? So I'm going to show you something. We need to actually get this particular color to actually have this particular heat map being turned into what we want. So get the color of the background where it is sitting right now. So what do? We need to get back. So now that we are here, click on this and get the color. So if you do not have the hex code, let's go to more colors. So what you can get now, you can get this is actually 208, 228, and 229. So remember that 208, 228, and 229. So we're going to type this as a code. So now let's go over to this particular value area here for the first time. Oh, was it value? No, I think we're going to go and deal with the header right here. So if I go down, I'll click on background here, and I'll click on more colors. And my red was 208, if I'm not mistaken. It's 208. Sorry. 208. So 08. And over here, we have 228. So then we need to come over here, and what we need to change this one to right now is 229. So this is what we have. So we have blended now. So now we have hex code here that we can copy for the next one. We don't need to type it all over again. It was because the current PowerPoint I'm using does not have the hex code. That was why we did that. So now we can step off from here, close this, and let us open the header. Then we go for this particular background here, and we can even find the color right here. And let's change this for us. Oh no, it doesn't work. Okay, what the heck is happening? What can we do? This is not controlled by the raw header. Is controlled by the value. So there are backgrounds in value. We can always go there and have it corrected. Let's do it. So we go to the value area here. So if we come to the value area, we have two types of background. We have the main background color, and we have the alternate background color. I'm going to go for the main background color here and choose this one, and immediately you can see we have this down. So if we do the same thing over to this particular alternative here, and or the alternate has changed as well, and we have this. I might want to have something dark a little bit than what I have now in my alternate. I can just bring this down, and this is what we have. Can you see this now? Just to differentiate, every single weekdays. That is beautiful. Okay, now with this, we are almost done from here, right? So let us click on this particular chart we have beneath here and go over to where style and size or size and style. So now we turn that off, and it looks just like this. This is what it is. So you can just bring this down a little bit, and we have provision for our title now. So we do the same to this one. We click and we turn off the background. We do the same to this one. We click and we turn off the background. So with this now, we are good. So adjust it to this level. You have all the space here to be used. So one thing is this: if you look at this particular place where we have the percentage, the color is different, and we want the color to blend with our background. What can we do? Let's go over to where I think I'm thinking. Let me think. So over here, we talk about where we need to turn that off, right? So let's go over to this data label, right? So let's scroll down and go to value. Do we have background on the value? Okay, now I remembered. So we can go over to columns here. So remember, we are using chart that has, I think this is the chart we are using right here. So we are using this particular stacked column chart. So one of it is actually on this. I'm going to change it to this particular color, and that blends with my background. So nobody knows the trick we have actually used to create that. I can just bring this down a little bit here like this. Okay. So this is what we have now. So on this one here, we're going to click on it and go over to size and style and turn off the background. We go ahead and do the same thing to this one. We do this and we have this. Okay, it is time for me to actually get this some kind of call. So I'm going to just go ahead and have this highlighted. So what if I decide to use a different, font for that? I can just scroll down and get something much more bold. This right here. So in this case, let's just look at this. This is looking cool, but there's not much difference. There is not much difference between the previous one. So over here, I'm going to use a color that will pop. So let's use something like this, but this wouldn't pop the way I like it. What am I going to do? I'm going to come over here and just go over to my colors, and I'm going to take it to this level here, and this will definitely pop the way I want it. Does it? Let's use the darker version of it. So something like this. On this one, we're talking about crimes that were not some kind of I think we're talking about crimes that were not resolved. So here we use this that actually matches our background for our heat map. You see that? Beautiful. So once we have gotten this done, we can always click and adjust things like this to make sure we situate the text we have inside it rightly, and do the same thing to this one. Okay, so once we are cool with this, it's time for we to get this off. The background should be turned off, and this is what it is. All right, so we have something amazingly right here, but I'm not really impressed with how it is looking now. So we need to adjust things a little bit. Specifically, when I say specifically, I'm talking about the line chart we have is not really cool. So there are not too much space here for my line chart. So what am I going to do? Quickly, I have to go back. So we are back here now. I can just bring this down a little bit. So to create this particular huge space for it, can add more. Now, like this. This is actually cool. So over here, I can just push this one. And I'm going to just reduce the rounded corner. Okay, we have something like this. What do we need to do? I'm going to just go over here and just reduce this. Move it a bit. Just always come over here to adjust things. It's really cool. Exactly. So we can push this in. So do the same thing that we've done before. Go to File, then go to Export. From export, click on change file type, and let's go over to this PNG, double click on it. So what we can do is to double click on this one and have it replaced. That is all we need to do. But unfortunately, this is not going to be, it's not going to replace this one. So all we have to do is to make sure we click on the blank area and go ahead and just remove it, then bring in the new one. Replaced. And now things look fine. Right? So let me click on this chart and remove the white part of it. So turn off the background. It's now looking more beautiful. Okay, I'm going to start with this chart right here. So on this chart, I'm going to make it some kind of like, okay, you know what? I want you to actually highlight the areas where we have the highest crime for us. But before then, we have different types of colors for this chart. So let's go to this particular map settings. Over here, we can go for the dark. That looks like this, but doesn't really match our dashboard. What if I go to the light one? Oh, this light one look calm, and I love this. So it goes with my background. I love it. So after this now, you might decide to actually go to the bubbles and increase the bubble a little bit. Just don't make it too much. Once it's too much, you have something like this. So we don't want to make it too much. Okay, this one is okay, right? Beautiful. So the next thing is for we to actually go back to, I think it is a setting. So we click on the settings on the bubble. Okay, on the bubble. So on the bubble, we actually have color. So we have color. So we're not going to change the color manually. So what we're going to do right now is that for my color on the bubble, I want to use something like this. Let's go with something like this. This is cool, but not really cool. What if I click over here and try to blend it with, no. We're still going to use blue color, of course. Let's go back. Let's get back. So let's go with this particular blue color we have here, this one. And we want to choose the thick one. So go over to here and move it down to select this one. And it looks just like this. I love this. Always try to create another version of your color. Don't go outside of it to invent a new color that you don't have before. That is not what I'm saying. Okay. Now with this, I'm cool with this. I'm going to go ahead and go to this particular FX here. So we have this color already created. I'm going to copy the color code from here. I've copied it. So go to the FX here to make it more dynamic. That can change based on the country with the highest crimes. So we are here. We're not going to use rule. We're going to use gradient. And I'm going to go and don't use count. When you have count of the dimension you have here, you always need to change it. Let's go to our measure and we're going to go ahead and take our total crimes. Beautiful. So for the lowest crime is where I want to have that particular color I've copied over here that we've mixed, right? Then over here, I'm going to have this color. So I'm going to create a middle color because I don't want to have too much saturation, wherever. That's saturation? Too much gradient. I don't know how to call that. So we'll add in that mid color. And the same thing I've added here, like this color, the same color here is what we have here. Now let's click on OK. Maybe you're surprising, like what would have happened if we actually don't add the mid one. Let me go ahead and remove it and show you what will be the case. So if I click on it, so you can see what I have as color. I don't want to have this. I just want to have one single one highlighted for me. So for that, I'll add a mid color. If I add a middle color right now, the middle color will definitely do that magic for me. Let's go back here. So the same color we have in this middle color and this particular minimum color is what we have here. So click on it. This is what you have, right? Okay, now it is time. So over here, we need to adjust this. All right, here we go. I have just added all the title. So all I did was just to highlight this particular part and actually bold it and make it different because I want to emphasize crimes, right? Okay, we need to change the color of this one. And what can we do? We can do the same thing. I'm going to go over to this particular color we have used here. So let's go over to the color. If I click on color, so I'm going to click on this. And here is the color I've used over here. I'll go to more colors. I'm going to copy the color code. Then let's just step off. So now click on this one here. Let's go over to this and always choose the gradient. And let's don't use count. Instead, we go ahead and choose the measure. Don't ever use dimension for this. So I'm going to add the middle color. So over here, I'm going to paste in this one I've brought in. Then I'm going to click and have this one pasted as well. So we're going to select that color to highlight where we have the highest crimes right in. So if I click on this one right now, it gives us this. So there is something that is making it to look some kind of weird. And that is actually this thing here, the legend. So we turn off the legend and it's looking this way. You get it? Okay, now we have this done. We need to click on this one and our line has to be correlating with our other chart in terms of color. So click on the line and let's go down. So over here is giving us all. So we're going to select where we have total crimes. That is the line we want to actually affect. So once we've selected that, we can scroll down. So we select colors. Oh, here we have two colors. Then I'm going to change this to this particular color right here. This is how it looks. Can you see this now? Beautiful. So once we have done this, it is time to quickly go down to where we have our detail. For the detail, this is not actually a complicated report to create. So all we have to do is to get this screenshot. So we are right on this particular part, which is very, very simple and easy. I'm going to leave it for you guys to do it all by yourself because we have written all the logics, create all the charts and make all the settings and everything is working quite fine. So right over here, this is the original version of what we have actually replicated. So all I have not added was adding a slicer on the other one, which we can still go ahead and do. And you can do it all by yourself. So I've taken you to this particular journey. It's a long journey, but if you can actually replicate what we have done here, believe me, honestly, you can do something better on your personal dashboard. Maybe at the workplace or if you want to practice more. So can you see it now? We filter with different crimes and we have our dashboard, some kind of updated, and this is how it looks. Can you see it now? So not every week that we have crimes, but you can see on Sunday, but we have more crimes on Wednesday, followed by this particular Thursday right here. And this is all about that. Okay, guys, just go ahead and actually practice this. There are so many videos on my channel that you can actually take advantage of to learn something you really need to learn. I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you love this channel and you like me, your comment is very important, and your like would help the algorithm to share it wide to people. Thanks for learning with me.